Hey everybody, this is Blake with Attractions Magazine, and today we're going to break down some details that you may have missed in Universal's big announcement of Epic Universe, the new theme park opening in 2025 at Universal Orlando Resort. So the basics, if this is your first time hearing about Epic Universe, first of all, if that's the case, head over to attractionsmagazine.com or check out our previous playlist full of videos to catch you up to speed. But basically, Epic Universe is going to have 4 main lands based on How to Train Your Dragon, Harry Potter, Nintendo, and Universal Classic Monsters. Some really cool stuff. So now that you're caught up, let's go through some of these. Longtime Universal fans may have fond memories of Back to the Future, the ride, a now defunct attraction that was located where the Simpsons ride is currently located at Universal Studios Florida. There's going to be a Back to the Future reference in Epic Universe, a small reference, but a reference nonetheless. Andreza Duarte, who is a senior manager of Universal Orlando's internal communications team, she was quoted on the Discover Universal blog post that was published today, the same day as the big reveal for Epic Universe. Tuesday, January 30th is when I'm recording this. And Duarte said, although I can't give away the Easter egg just yet, just know that there's a gift for true Universal fans on the back of each coaster vehicle, truly out of time. So at a time, of course, Back to the Future, and the coaster that she's referring to is Starfall Racers, the dual racing coaster that is in the center of Epic Universe in the Celestial Park area. So it looks like on the back of those coaster trains will be some sort of reference to Back to the Future, and Discover Universal, it should be noted, is an official online Universal publication. While we're on the subject of Starfall Racers, the height requirement will be 48 inches. There will be a child swap available, so 48 inches, that's the same as Revenge of the Mummy, Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, and Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. Those are all the same height requirement. That will be the height requirement for Starfall Racers, and that is listed on the recently live webpage for the attraction on Universal's website. That page also says that Starfall Racers will have an inverted crisscross known as the Celestial Spin. Sounds kind of like they're trying to do like a Mosasaurus roll like the Velocicoaster has, like kind of like their own take on a unique element of this coaster. Celestial Spin is what they call that inverted crisscross on Starfall Racers. So if you think about how on Velocicoaster, how cool it looks at nighttime as those trains are zipping all over the place with the lighting on them, kind of the same thing is going to be going on with Starfall Racers. So they said on the ride page, with no external track lighting at night, the fully illuminated ride vehicles appear as comets shooting across the night sky above Celestial Park. That sounds really cool. Steven Spielberg made a surprise appearance in the big announcement video that Universal posted on YouTube. So, obviously, film director Steven Spielberg, he's directed quite a few films that have been adapted to Universal theme park attractions in some way or fashion, such as Jurassic Park, E.T., Jaws, R.I.P. Jaws. Steven Spielberg was involved heavily in the development of Universal Studios Florida when that park opened in 1990. And it turns out to this day, he is still a creative consultant with Universal Destinations and Experiences, formerly known as Universal Parks and Resorts. He appeared in the video. He had some very kind remarks to say about the ambitions of Epic Universe. Notably, Epic Universe will be the first Universal Orlando park to not contain any attractions based on Steven Spielberg films. Steven Spielberg was not involved in How to Train Your Dragon, Nintendo, the Monsters movies. He almost directed Harry Potter, but then didn't. So this is the first Universal park in Orlando, at least, to not have any specific Spielbergian-inspired attractions. However, he is a creative consultant on the project nonetheless. If you're a little confused by the name of the new Wizarding World, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Ministry of Magic, and they did remain kind of vague about it so far in their announcements. If you've been following with us, then you might be up to speed, but just in case you're not, so the exterior of the land itself is based upon Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, which was the 2018 film, the second movie in that series, the Fantastic Beasts series, spin-off prequel series to Harry Potter. Some of the attractions within that land, Universal said, will be based upon the British Ministry of Magic. So we're in France on the outside. It seems like we'll be in Britain on the inside. How we get there, what happens along the way, is still kind of a mystery, or at least not publicly formally announced by Universal quite yet. So from Celestial Park, there are portals to each of the 4 different lands. If you're like, Celestial Park, what? Portals, what? Again, go back, find the basics on attractionsmagazine.com. This is more of a detailed deep dive if you already have some sort of basic foundation for what Epic Universe is. But anyway, the portals will have inscriptions, and if you zoom in really closely on the concept art, you can see what those inscriptions say. For the How to Train Your Dragon area, Isle of Berk, it says, "We, my friends, have dragons." For the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Ministry of Magic, the inscription reads, "For in dreams we enter a world that is entirely our own," which is an Albus Dumbledore quote. The inscription for Dark Universe, which is based again on Universal Classic Monsters, says, it's alive," in reference to Frankenstein's monster. And the portal for Super Nintendo World reads, "Here we go," like Mario says in the video games. You'll also notice, though, on those portals, there's little orbs or medallions at the top of the portal in the center, kind of like above you as you're walking into the portal. Those same 4 medallions or orbs, or I'm not sure their exact terminology, those same 4 spherical objects appear verbatim in the what Universal is calling the Chronos, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, the portal that you enter at the main park entrance entering into Epic Universe. So kind of cool how that all ties in together. While Universal didn't release a ton of info about specific attractions or the backstories behind the individual lands, they did provide brief official blurbs about what to expect in each respective land. And the one for Dark Universe is particularly interesting. It reads, "Guests encounter everything from the experiments of Dr. Victoria Frankenstein to the shadowy landscape where monsters roam in a world of myth and mystery." So Dr. Victoria Frankenstein, not Victor Frankenstein. We see a depiction of her in the concept art along with a few other classic monsters. Some of the archival clips that they used in their announcement video show clips from the classic vintage Universal films Bride of Frankenstein. We see Frankenstein's monster in there. We see the creature of the Black Lagoon. So that might be hints of what we can expect, who we can expect to see. And then they had official promo images of what it looks like Frankenstein's monster, Wolfman, Dracula, and like we said, the new character, Dr. Victoria Frankenstein. There's a piece of concept art in the press package for Epic Universe where it shows a section of Celestial Park that it refers to as Luna Overlook. That's what the caption for that piece of concept art in the press package says, Luna Overlook. And if you zoom in closely, there's an inscription on this statue, and it says, "The goddess Luna draws the veil across the worlds of color pale. Her glowing face reflects the light and pulls the star into the..." And then a guest in the concept art is covering up the final bit. But night seems like a pretty safe bet for how that phrase ends. Also in this same piece of concept art, if you zoom in, something says Mexican Fresh on a building beyond this Luna statue, but Universal did not mention any sort of Mexican cuisine or Mexican dining location in their announcement. So what that is, we don't quite know yet. In the virtual fly-through that Universal released of Celestial Park, if you pause the video just as you're flying past Pizza Moon, which is the pizza counter service restaurant in Celestial Park, you'll see that the signage for that restaurant shows a moon getting hit in the face by a slice of pizza. So this is a reference to the 1902 French film. This is 122 years old. French film called A Trip to the Moon, directed by Georges Méliès. A famous scene from that film depicts a close-up of the moon getting hit in the face with a rocket. So this, the Pizza Moon signage, is a reference to that. And shout out to our movie reviewer from Attractions Magazine, Connor, for pointing that out to us. Connor's the man. The individual lands of Epic Universe, their themes at least, are admittedly quite different from one another, but there is an overall very broad thread, a narrative thread that Universal has crafted to tie everything together and explain why all these disparate themes are together and how we can experience them within one place. So I'm going to read some of the language that they've used, again, from their website, blog posts, press materials, and videos they've crafted to explain kind of the backstory and the lore for Epic Universe as a whole. So they've said at Epic Universe, the sun, moon, and stars have aligned to create a transformational theme park with amazing portals taking you to worlds beyond. They say that Celestial Park, which again is the central hub of Epic Universe, is a world between worlds where everything begins and ends. They also call Celestial Park the center of an ever-evolving universe that throughout centuries, people, artists, musicians, explorers, adventurers, inventors have visited for inspiration and connection, and maybe left a little piece of them behind. Outside of Super Nintendo World, in Celestial Park will be Nintendo Superstar Store. The concept art shows constellations on the ceiling inside that store of different Mario characters. We can see Bowser and Luigi, and then outside there are some really neat marble sculptures as well as glass stained windows of different Mario characters. And on the very top, it looks like we have sculpted bananas is what that seems like the objects from Mario Kart, or I guess from Donkey Kong as well. Universal widely reported the existence of two full-service restaurants within Celestial Park, the Atlantic and Blue Dragon. However, what you might not have seen unless you went to the individual restaurant pages that are now live on Universal's website is that both restaurants will contain their own individual bars as well. So the Atlantic will contain the Aquaria Bar, while Blue Dragon will contain the Tiger Bar. And both of those restaurants will also have some really cool interior design stuff and different details, elements happening inside as well. So at the Atlantic, Universal said they'll have giant illuminated fish gracefully circling above you and enormous glass walls reminiscent of an enormous Victorian aquarium. While at the Blue Dragon, the inside will contain a bustling courtyard under the glow of ethereal hanging lanterns where it's always evening. And it will also contain dazzling neon dragons chasing across the walls. So pretty cool. Something of a theme park tradition is deep lore and intricate backstories behind attractions that are kind of simple, but it's fun to have the backstory and the stories and characters present anyway. For example, Dr. Doom's Fearfall. You're not just dropping, you are facing off against Dr. Doom. How dare you even think you're doing anything less than that? So Constellation Carousel will kind of be the same way. If you thought it was just a merry-go-round, you're wrong, okay? So Universal says that on Constellation Carousel, you will climb aboard this imaginative carousel where the cosmic energy of the universe enables guests to ride the constellations themselves. And it says you'll be flying through the Milky Way. So you're not just riding on a unicorn or some sort of magical creature. No, you are riding through the constellations on cosmic energy, okay? The ride vehicles on this is pretty cool. The ride vehicles will spin 360 degrees in addition to the turntables themselves moving, and there will be no height requirement for Constellation Carousel. Lastly, if you take a look at the description of the video announcement that Universal posts on YouTube, they say that this announcement is the first installment of a video series presenting an overview of Epic Universe. So that implies that as they continue to announce more things, maybe one land at a time, I'm not sure, we can expect more videos like this, which I hope is the case. That would be awesome because this first video was fantastic. So possibly more of that to come. That's all for now, but like I said, if you want more Epic Universe or just a broad general overview, this was a deep dive into nitty-gritty details. If you want a big picture overall macro view of what the park looks like and what to expect, check out attractionsmagazine.com for our full breakdown of everything that Universal has announced so far, as well as our Epic Universe playlist right here on our YouTube channel.